Hello guys, hope you all are doing fine and staying safe. Today we are going to see IELTS listening section one's most first and basic thing, listening to names. In section 1, it is very common that you get to spell out or write and hear the names of different people. For example, the form filling. Whenever you are filling a form in section 1, it is very likely that the speaker will be asking the other person for tell me your name or can you spell out your name. First, let me take your name. So you need to be very clear on to how to take write down the names which are spelled or spoken in the recording. Though it is very easy and common thing, there are certain aspects on which we need to focus or else the easy marks will be flying away in the air. Okay, so let's see what we need to look out for when listening to the names in the section 1 of IELTS speaking. I mean IELTS listening, sorry. So the first thing that you need to be clear on is the sounds of alphabets. That is the phonetics. Okay, you may tell me that what you want me to go back to LKG and learn the ABCs. No, I don't want you to go to LKG. But if you want a band 9 in IELTS listening, then you need to be clear, crisp, and much aware on the sounds of each individual letters from A to Z. You need to know how the uh, sound comes when you speak a, how the sound comes when you speak d, how the sound is when you say ph words pa. Okay, so you need to be clear on each and every individual letter's sound because each one has a unique sound, each one is pronounced differently. There are certain words which may confuse you if you are not clear on these ph and s sound and d sound and b sound. Okay, so you need to be clear on these sounds. If you take the most common name Anthony, many students write it as Anthony, th, whereas the speaker must be saying tony, Anthony, but it is heard because they are very quick. The recording goes very fast and it's a fraction of seconds that you hear the sound. So it is Anthony. My name is Anthony and I would. So it is very fast. If we are not clear on the sound of ta and tha, ta the upward tongue, tha the downward or straight tongue. So you need to be clear on these phonetic Anthony, 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 Anthony. You see, when spoken fast, they both look similar. So if you are not clear on the phonetic sound of ta and th, tha, then you are going to lose 1 mark. So it is very essential that you know all the phonetic sounds clearly so that you will be able to get the names properly even if it is not spelled out. There are certain surnames and long names which are spelled out for you, but then again when the spelling is being said, you need to be clear that it is saying B or it is saying P. Okay, BP, both sound similar when the Americans or Britishers pronounce them. So you need to be clear on the unique individual sounds of each letter. This is my first tip that you should concentrate on. The next thing you must be clear on is the capital letters. We all know that each and every name starts with a capital letter. But there are certain times or the anxiety of writing the exam that we listen because we are more focusing on listening. We just write down the name as we hear and go about it without proofreading it. So in listening, proofreading is very essential. You have written a name John or James, you have written the name, but you did not proofread it and you have left the James as small James. If you have written like this, then say goodbye to your 1 mark. Okay? You need to be proofreading your answers after writing it because each and every name, each and every proper noun starts with a capital letter. So you must write capital James, James, not small James. Okay? Although it is allowed that you can write everything in capital letters, there is no negative marking if you write all JAMES in capitals. That is not wrong. But if you have written all the letters of James in small letter, then you are going to lose mark. So be clear. Either write in complete capital letters all the names, all the letters, or at first letter of your names should be capitals. Okay, the big A, the big A, the big J, all the big letters, okay, A, B, C, D in capitals of the names should be there, okay. So first letter should be capitals. Do not leave this and get minus marks for this silly mistake, okay. The third thing, obviously, which is very important, is your spellings. As I said, when we are writing the names or listening to the recording, we just write it down what we have heard and we just move about in the anxiety to complete it within 60 minutes and move on to the reading section. But in this hurry buddy, we forget to check the spelling, we forget to proofread. Again, proofreading plays an essential role. If you proofread it, you will know that whether you have written the correct spelling. In the section 1, when we are listening to names, there are certain surnames and larger names which are spelled out for you. But the smaller and the most common names like Peter, Parker, Helen, James, Sam, these common names are not spelled for you. So you must be familiar with some of the common names which mostly appear in your IELTS exam. So I will suggest that just go about and look at some of the most common names and get an idea of the spelling so that you do not get confused as to whether it is SIMON Simon or it is SIMUN Salmon. Okay, so be clear in your spellings of the most common names. Go through it, it will just take few minutes, but you will get 1 to 2 marks extra if you are clear in your spellings. The next thing that you should concentrate on is your titles. That is something Doctor, Mr., Miss, Ms., Duke, Duchess, Sir, Madam, all these things. Though Sir, Madam, Duke, Duchess are very rare, but still they may appear. We don't know, IELTS, we cannot predict it. So you must write the title if the speaker or in the recording, if the speaker says that my name is Mr. Parker, my name is Ms. Parker. You need to write the title if the speaker says it. If it is not spelled out or if it is not said by the speaker, then do not write it. Just write the name, Peter Parker. But if she is saying or he is saying Mr. or Miss, then you need to write that. Another thing that you should look out for in the title is that Miss and Ms pronunciation. The MISS is pronounced as Miss, Miss Parker, Miss. The Sir sounds Miss, whereas MS is pronounced as Ms. The Z sound, the Z sound, Z, Ms. Parker, Ms. Helen. Okay, so you should be very carefully and keenly listening to the pronunciation and the sounds of letters in listening names. Okay, Miss Helen. It will sound same, but be clear. Still keenly you have to listen. Miss Parker, Ms. Parker. My name is Miss Parker. My name is Miss Parker. Okay, Miss Parker, Miss Parker, Miss Parker, Miss Sir Z. You need to be clear. So pay very attentiveness to listening the names and the titles. Okay, so this is the fourth thing that you have to be clear. When the speaker says titles, write down the title. The last thing is that initials. If initials are said by the speaker, you need to write down the initials. That is J.K. Rowling, M.S. Dhoni, A.R. Bosco, A.D. De Villiers. Okay, so A.D., M.S., J.K., A.R. These are called initials. If it is told by the speaker, then you need to write it. If it is not told, no problem. Just write Bosco, Dhoni, De Villiers. But if they are saying their complete name with the initials, you need to write it down. Be clear. You need to write down the initials and the titles. One thing which I would like to say here is that either in titles or in the initials, the dot is not compulsory. That is Mr. dot Mr. Parker. So Mr. dot MISS dot that dot is not compulsory. If you don't write the dot, it is not going to affect your marks. So you can either include it or you can exclude it. It is up to you. So Mr. without a dot or Mr. with dot, both are acceptable. In the same way, AR, the dot between A and R is not compulsory. It is up to you. You can omit it or you can write it. It is not going to affect your marks. So you can write A dot R Bosco or A R Bosco simply. So these are 5 things that you need to focus on when you are listening to names. That is, write your first letter of your names as capital letters. Write down the initials and titles if they are told by the speaker. Look out for your spellings and be clear on your phonetic sounds. Okay, be clear on your phonetic sounds. Only then you will be able to write the correct spelling, because these recordings are very fast, and if you don't catch the sound, you are going to lose the spellings. So these are 5 aspects or 5 areas which you need to focus on when you are listening to the names. Now practice with as many names as you can. Just listen to them and write it down and see if you are getting it correctly. I hope that these tips will help you. Now practice well and all the very best for your exams. Bye bye.